Consistency isn't discipline, it's design. Most people aren't inconsistent, believe it or not, they're more exhausted than anything else. And so, if habits were about trying harder, then motivation would work. I talk to men and women all the time who keep blaming themselves for quitting. They assume inconsistency is actually a character flaw, but effort was never meant to carry a long-term change. And so, in order to change habits, you do not need more motivation. Let me say that one more time, a little bit louder. In order to change your habits, you don't need more motivation. You need to understand how your brain actually works. And so that's what we're going to learn about on today. Hi, my name is Robert L. Robinson III, and I'm the author of a powerful habit transformation book that I've titled Disruptive Habits, Breaking Free. I help leaders just like yourself, not just with just inspiration or motivation, but I like to give you practical solutions in order to take your negative habits, disrupt them with positive ones in order to build the life that you always dreamed of. I got 2 points for you today in the framework, and let's get out of here. So, if your habits stay in the thinking part of your brain, it will always feel hard. When we talk about the front part of our brain, the prefrontal cortex, it handles things like decisions, willpower, and motivation. Now, this part of the brain, it fatigues very quickly. Motivation is temporary because the thinking brain was never designed, or it was never meant for repetition. I want you to think about this for a second. You don't motivate yourself to stop at a stoplight. You don't hype yourself up to brush your teeth. Those behaviors that we do, they're automatic. They have went from conscious to unconscious. The goal of habit transformation, it isn't effort, but it's transfer. Transformation equals transfer. When you're transforming your habits, it literally is taking from the prefrontal cortex and it's transferring it to the basal ganglia. Remember, transformation equals transfer. You're transferring it from the prefrontal cortex to the basal ganglia. The automation that we create is consistency. Habits, when they move from effort to automation, it's stored within the basal ganglia. The basal ganglia, it's responsible for our automatic behaviors, our daily routines, our repeated actions that we do. Because once habits live inside the basal ganglia, they no longer require motivation. Inconsistency isn't laziness. I know you may feel frustrated. I know you may want to quit right now because you're like, I'm so inconsistent and I don't know if I'm going to be able to transfer it. But I'm here to tell you that your inconsistency is not laziness, but it's really a lack of automation. Driving your car, whether it's you're going to work, you're going home, you're going to a familiar place, that's automation. Checking your phone without thinking about it, whether it be on social media, your messages, when it rings, you swipe and pick it up. Those are automation. That's automatic behaviors that we're doing. Our morning routines that we do on autopilot, again, that's automation. So I want us to stop asking, how do I stay motivated? And we need to start asking, how do I design this habit that I'm trying to transform? Let me give you this blueprint. It's a 3-step blueprint. It's 3 systems. So I want you to grab a notebook, get a notepad, swipe up, get on your notes app, write it down. The thing is, same trigger, same time, same environment. When we talk first about the same trigger, you have to attach the habit to something that already exists, something that you're already doing. They call it in neuroscience habit stacking. And so I can remember when I was journaling or trying to get into a better repetition with reading and studying, I would take my coffee in the morning and I would put my journal or I would put my book right next to it. So it triggered me that whenever I went to get my coffee, that, hey, I got a journal today. Hey, I got to spend some time to read. And so I would do it together. As I was reading, I was drinking my coffee. As I was journaling, I was drinking my coffee. It was the same trigger. The second thing is the same time, because we need to reduce decision fatigue. Generally speaking, there are studies that suggest that when you're presented with a new thought or an option, your brain can actually start to lean towards the decision within just a few seconds. This window is roughly between 5 and 7 seconds, where you kind of feel that initial pull towards a decision. But if you don't act on it, then your habitual responses or your automatic patterns start to really kick in. So it's kind of like you have this tiny window, 5 to 7 seconds, before you consciously choose to do it or you slip into your default habit mode. That's the same time. Now let's talk about the same environment. You have to make the habit easier every single day, and you make it easier when you put it in the same environment. So you have to do the same trigger, the same time, and the same environment. The easier the habit, the faster it becomes automatic. And so let's make it personal now. Let me ask you a question. What habit are you still forcing that should be automated? Let me think about that for a second, and let's make a quick example. Think about if you're going to the gym. I know when I was going to the gym, I said, you know what, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to go 7 days a week. Now, 7 days a week, it sounds pretty impressive. Hats off to me if I could have done it. But guess what? 3 well-placed, repeatable sessions beat burnout every single time, because when you start small, you work your way up from there. So stop forcing intensity, but instead choose consistency every single time, because if it starts to feel heavy, if that transformation starts to feel very hard, then it hasn't really fully moved from the prefrontal cortex to the basal ganglia. So let's close up on this today. Now, today we've learned about motivation. It starts our habits. Our systems sustain our habits, and then automation makes habits actually stick. Because transformation, it's not built by intensity, it's built by alignment. If you're interested in learning more, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, or subscribe to my YouTube page. It's Robert L. Robinson III on all of your social media outlets. Together, let's build, follow,